Patati patata.
Patati patata.
Patati patata.
Hi everyone,
I'm Anna.
I'm Rina.
I'm Trisha, and you're listening to My Book Bestie Said It's Good, a podcast by three friends with different book tastes. Sit back, relax, and get bookish with us.
Today, we're going to be discussing our favorite reads and just talk about the books that made an imprint on us that we still think about until today. And, well, talk about what makes a book a 5-star read.
What makes a book a 5-star read?
Yes.
That's a good question.
Yeah, right? It differs for everyone.
Why do you think I know what the answer to that question is?
Yeah, right?
I think we will try to find the answers together.
Yes.
I would definitely say that, like Anna said, it depends on the person. And we talked about this before in other episodes and on how we rate books. And this really depends like on personal views and what we think is important on a book.
Definitely.
100%.
Mm-hmm. So thinking about all your 5-star reads, is there a common factor between all of the books that you gave 5 stars?
There is. I think there is, yeah. Not all. Some of them are a bit different. But in terms of every fantasy that I've gave 5 stars to, it has always been found family. So that's one of the main points that they have in common. And then it's usually because they're fast-paced. Like a lot of stuff happening. So you start the book. It's like that feeling that you've been reading for, 30 minutes and already everything has happened.
So for you, it's more about the plot than the character development or the writing.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's something that I actually notice. Some writing does turn me off, but it's very rare.
Okay.
So I'd say that good. I don't know what good writing is to me.
It's
either,
subjective.
So I haven't learned that yet. But also, I'm kind of a new reader, so I think I'm also figuring that out. But yeah.
And I mean, when you're busy reading about this whole other world,
Yeah,
maybe you're not gonna focus like,
on the
how,
words,
yes,
or how they're constructed, or if they're using singular person or plural or whatever it is. Yeah.
And I sometimes feel like in fantasies it's easier if the writing is actually clear.
Mm-hmm. Helps
then,
imagine.
like a lot of
Embellishments.
Fluff?
yes, like embellished words and I don't know what, because it makes it even more difficult.
Do you think that Divine Rival has a embellished writing?
Yeah, I would say so. The author explains things in a different way. So I don't think she's very direct. I think she romanticizes.
Yeah, she does.
Yes. Comparing to Danielle L. Jensen, for example, that wrote The Bridge Kingdom, I find that the writing is much more direct and simpler. So if you want to... If I compare both in my mind, yes.
Yeah, I remember enjoying the writing of Divine Rivals very much, and still enjoying the plot. So, but it was slow paced. It needs to be that combination because fast paced and embellished writing probably doesn't work.
Exactly. That was kind of my point.
Yeah. And for you guys,
Rina, you can go. Should I go?
For Rina is romance. The common theme is romance.
I would say that not only romance, but books that make me feel something. Because there's a lot of romances that I read that I really like, but they don't stay with me very long. Even romances from my favorite authors. So it has to have this element. It doesn't need to be sad. Doesn't need to make me sad, but it needs to make me feel something. Most it's sadness, yes, okay, but
but for example, when you say make me feel something, does giggling and kicking your feet count, or you mean feel something in the long term, processing something that the book transmits, or a message from the book?
Yes, I would say so. Not like giggling, kicking my feet, because
Yeah.
this happens, every day. But I really like to read stories that either make me think or feel about things that I usually don't think about. Like it has to be something a bit special. So it has to have an impact. So not of the giggling variety.
Yeah.
More of the like discussing, let's say, feelings or raw emotions, and I'm like,
You connect to it.
I connect to it, exactly. I would say. What about you, Trisha?
I think I agree with you. I think we have this in common, that we like books that bring out emotion and talk about themes that might be a bit difficult to describe. It's something that I really like in a book is when there's something that I wouldn't be able to put into words, and someone manages to just show that emotion in a sentence. It's like, how? I couldn't describe that in like 3 paragraphs, but you just did it with a sentence. I like books that deal with identity, and when the characters are trying to figure out what they are, what their goal in life is. I like beautiful writing, but it's not a must. And also when books get creative, I think I value that a lot.
Or too much creative.
Yeah, sometimes a bit too much. But I would take a weird book over a cliche anytime. I guess that's it.
Yeah, because it makes them special.
Yeah.
And therefore...
And unique. You're not going to forget about, I don't know, minotaurs or...
It's not just that, but yes.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
I know, I know what you
here.
mean. It's like, if it makes me think about something that I never thought about before,
Exactly.
you know, it will be a book that will mark me in a way. It is provocative.
It's provocative.
Yeah, I just want to say that I was going through my Goodreads to, see what books I rated 5 stars. And I have to say that there's different types of 5 stars.
Oh, yeah.
We need to talk about this. Because I was like, why did I give this book 5 stars? Was I don't know, I was in a fever dream or something. I don't even remember what happened. So it's like, so do you have like a book that you rated 5 stars and you're like, why did I rate it 5 stars? Or is it really a 5-star read?
Oh, so many though. Okay, not that many, but some, yeah. What comes to my mind, I don't think I have it on Goodreads, but I read After, the fan fiction that was turned into a book by Anna Todd. And I was like hooked and so into it. For me, it was a 5-star read. I'm sure that if I read it today, I would not rate it 5 stars.
Of course, but I think our 5-star standards also change with time and after reading a lot of books.
Definitely.
What was a 5-star for you in that moment in life? Today is probably like 2-3 stars maybe.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you have an example?
So I saw that I gave 5 stars to, for example, Jandy Nelson book, which is young adult. The name of the book is The Sky is Everywhere. If you ask me, what is it about? I don't remember.
But you had a good time.
But I think it was one of those books that left me very emotional because the main character was dealing with grief. And then it also has romance. So in my 15-year-old brain, it's like, oh my God, this is perfection.
But I have to say, there are some 5-star books that I don't remember what they are about. But I remember that I felt something very strong when I read them. I remember like, this was really good. But don't ask me what it is. No idea.
Okay, that's fair. I think it's the same feeling then.
But I would still say they are 5-star reads, though. I wouldn't have changed my mind.
But they were 5 stars at the time, right?
Yeah, that's
no,
what
even now. Like, I'm pretty sure if I read that book now, if I read it now, I'm pretty sure I would give it 5 stars still.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm not sure about. So I don't know if I went back and read these books again, if the feeling would be the same.
Yeah. We have to reread them. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm afraid of rereading them and then being like disappointed.
Oh, yeah.
And, because I will expect the feelings to match what I felt in the beginning, in the first time I read it. And if they don't, I'm like, just ruining the experience.
Do you have a book like that, Anna, by the way, just going back to the question? Do you have any 5-star read that you gave years ago that is no longer a 5-star read?
So first of all, we cannot use the years ago because I was not a reader. But I actually have a funny thing I guess, which is Red Rising.
Okay. Wait, what?
I don't know. I've been processing the book in our episode. I don't know. My feelings just probably got mixed with the book. And then I'm like, do I really want to continue the series? I think everything's just...
You got the hick.
Yeah.
I mean,
completely.
totally understandable. I got the hit faster, but...
But it's still, I think it's a great book. I think it's a great read. But...
I heard the second book is better. I don't know if it helps.
But it's not my book bestie saying that, so...
I know. But you also have book besties on Fable that said that it was really good.
I will consider it. I can make promises, but I will consider it.
Think about the graphic audio though.
Yeah, true. I think it makes it much better. But yeah, that was the book that I thought, like, is it really a 5-star? And I've read it like a month ago, so...
Yeah.
1-2 months ago, so yeah.
But also happens to me sometimes that in my head I rate a book a certain way and then we discuss it and I'm like, actually maybe it deserves either more or less.
Yeah.
It happened both ways, so I totally get that.
Drive a Plow Over the Bones of the Dead for me was like, oh, now that I'm talking about it, no, I love it even more. Yeah.
I think the same happened to me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But yeah, now I want to know what books were your 5-star reads or your favorites.
So one of the first 5-star reads that I have is José Saramago, which I read in high school, and it was like a mandatory reading. The book is Baltasar and Blimunda. I already liked to read back then, but mostly like young adult romances or something like this. But I ended up like reading it, and it was one of the best things I did in my entire life. It's a historical romance, and it revolves around the construction of the Mafra convent. The main characters are like involved in the plot. There's a priest,
not the sassy kind.
not the, but he's cool.
Yeah.
So the priest and the two main characters are working together to build a machine that flies. I'm gonna leave it at that.
No more
spoilers. And also there's no punctuation. This is a very characteristic style of José Saramago, and at the beginning I was like, why are they teaching me punctuation in school? And then this
there's no periods.
Yeah, but then you kind of get used to it. It's very fluid. Yeah.
I love his writing. Blindness is really good. All of his books. Anyways.
I read the book in one day.
What the?
No way.
Yes.
No.
I came home from school and I was like, I'm just going to read the first chapter. I finished the book at 8 a.m. the day after.
Wow.
And when I tell you that I was sobbing, my father got up to go to work, and I still have this clear in my mind. He heard me crying. So he opened the door. He was like, are you okay? And I'm like, yes. No. When you ask me about a 5-star reads, this is like the book.
So it's like your favorite book of all time?
The thing is, I wouldn't say that because I've read so many other books that I love, and I cannot say that this is my favorite. But I loved the experience of reading it and the surprise. I didn't want to read it, and then it was one of the best things ever. So I love the fact that it surprised me. The fact that a book surprises me, and I go into it not expecting it to happen. And when it does, and I'm positively surprised, I'm like, oh, wow, this is really good,
Yep. Yeah. That's a big factor. I have some 5-star reads that maybe if I had other expectations before, I wouldn't have given it 5 stars.
This is why some books are ruined. Because with all the hype that people give to books, you go into books with certain expectation. It will, I don't like to say never, but it will probably not match your expectations. It will be worse, probably.
Or sometimes if you read a book that you didn't like before, and then you go into a book that is, I don't know, normally would be a 4-star, you'll feel like it's a 5-star because of the big disparity.
Yeah, that actually makes sense. I never thought about that. But mostly it's not about expectations that others put, but that I put to myself.
Yeah. Usually also they're based on what people say about a book.
Yes.
If you go to Book Talk and you see recommendations and people talking about books.
Oh, you get a recommendation from a book bestie, and then you're like,
Yeah, but those you have to read.
But this kind of recommendation would make me have more expectations than Book Talk. I don't trust Book Talk anymore. I'm sorry.
yeah, my expectations are going to be lowered.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be like, oh, this book is amazing because everybody said that it's amazing.
But then again, 5 stars are different for everyone.
Yeah, that's true.
I was actually afraid when you said you were going to read King of Wrath because I said I really liked it.
I loved it. Yeah. It's not a 5-star read, but I really liked it.
Yeah, but I was afraid because I was like, I recommended, maybe you had really high expectations. You know what I mean?
I also wanted to read it before.
Okay.
And you were just, another motivation.
Okay. Well, it worked out. That's what matters. Mm-hmm. Trisha, a book you love?
I have to talk about my book, my author.
Afonso Cruz, right?
Yes, my favorite author is Afonso Cruz, and my favorite book by him is Kokoschka's Doll. It's based on the real story of the painter Oscar Kokoschka. The real story of Oscar is that he was really in love with Alma Mahler. When they broke up, he was still so in love with her that he commanded to a doll to be made that was exactly like her. Everything, yeah, a little bit, but every little thing, like even birthmarks, and it had to look like her exactly, even all the imperfections. And as I said, real story. And he did everything with her. He went out to the theater and just normal life. And then one day he got drunk and got tired of the doll and broke a bottle of wine in its head and threw it in the trash. The thing is, this doll is going to be part of a lot of characters' lives. The whole book is a bit labyrinthic and confusing, maybe, but it's how the doll influenced everyone and how everyone is interconnected. I love that idea.
Okay.
I was not expecting to like this book. The first book I read by Afonso Cruz was The Books That Devoured My Father, that I recommended to you. And I really liked it, but I don't know. It was not that book. And it was by fate that I got it. I wanted to buy Corelli's Bandolin, I think that's the name, but it wasn't available. So I bought this one instead because I knew the author. On Christmas night, I started reading it at 12 a.m. when I opened the gifts. And I stayed also awake until morning reading this freaking book. And I read it so many times already. I love it so much.
So another, at least a common tendency is to not sleep when a book is like 5 stars.
I feel like I've read a lot of books without sleeping, but they are not 5 stars. But okay, sure.
I think when I was young and had time to do that.
Yeah,
and
true.
There were no consequences of staying late.
Consequences of my actions.
Yes.
Meanwhile, me like 2 weeks ago.
On a weekday?
No, it was the weekend. But I had to get up early anyway.
Yeah.
Anna, did you have any book that made you feel like that?
I don't think I've stayed up all night reading a book. Probably happened just a few hours over my bedtime time,
Such a rebel.
I know. I like my sleep. I really do like my sleep. A book that really also stayed with me until today that I didn't think of much at the time. So it wasn't a 5-star at the time, but it is now, was The Zoo Station, the story of Christian F. In Portuguese, Os Filhos da Droga. So I read it for school because we had an assignment, we had to present a book. And I chose this one. It was one of the choices. I was like, this sounds interesting. And I thought I was going to hate it, or I thought I was just had to read it. And I absolutely devoured it as well. I remember just being in my bed reading it like the whole day and couldn't put it down. I still to this day remember scenes of this book. I can say that this book is a nonfiction. Yeah, it's a true story of Christian Felschinau. It's a German name, so I don't know. But yeah, it's a true story about how she became an addict to heroin at 14 years old in Berlin. So it's fitting that we're in Germany.
And you still wanted to come here after reading this book?
It was probably... I actually think it's a perfect book to be a school mandatory reading because it actually scared me about drugs. And I don't know, I'm thankful that I chose this one. And again, I still to this day have images of her in my head, obviously, of some scenes in this book. Specifically, one of her relapsing in her bedroom.
Dark.
That seems...
It is a dark book.
It's harsh for a child to read. Teenager.
How old were you when you read it?
I don't remember. Maybe 15, 16, maybe. it's an eye-opener for sure. But yeah, that's one of my favorite reads that are still with me to this day.
That's interesting. Do you have, Trisha, for example, a book that is not your go-to in terms of genre that you still rated 5 stars, for example?
Yes, it was last year's read for me. Let's say like this, like it was the best read. It was the best book that I read last year. The Last Hour of Gun by Arlie Smith. This book, holy, I don't know how to describe it because I think it's a little bit genre bending. A lot of people say it's romance. I completely disagree. I would say it's sci-fi, and I don't know if I can call it dark fiction, but it's very dark. There is romance, there's a little bit of spice as well, but it's definitely not the main theme. It kind of reminded me of other books that are about survival and talk about everything: politics, God, religion. I don't know. There's so much in it. It's in the future, and it's about this woman who leaves Earth to go to a colony because she doesn't have money to pay for her stuff. They end up crashing in another planet, and they have to try to survive. And in there, she meets this alien reptile dude. He's the sword of something, so kind of military, let's call it like that, and a priest.
Yeah, you said, I remember you talking about this book.
Ah, okay. I don't.
Yeah, that he followed God, and it was God's will, something like that.
Exactly.
I remember.
So it was really strange, and it has this dystopian part that people are trying to survive, and also religion, like discusses a lot of themes, and it gets really deep and interesting. I loved it. Amazing. Such a gem. I don't know.
Not your go-to genre, but it has a few subplots that go with your main choices usually.
Definitely. Like, I would say the main one is sci-fi, and I like sci-fi, but it's not my favorite genre, but amazing. Do you have a book like that, Rina? No?
I mean, I would say it's Baltasar Mlimunda. Outside of that, I think I could mention fantasy, because I don't read a lot of fantasy books, but I really love the Crimson Mod duology, and I gave both of the books 5 stars. And it's not common for me that I give fantasy books 5 stars. So basically it's like a witch and a witch hunter, and it's enemies to lovers. Well done. And I just started it because I was like, ooh, I love this blurb. I was really obsessed with it. I also read it like in a very short amount of time. Yeah, it's a very interesting story. And the second book, it's as good as the first, which sometimes doesn't happen. Divine Rivals, cough, cough. So maybe that would be the example that I have that is not like quite my go-to genre, even though I also like fantasy, but...
But within our genres, I would say, well, I have a lot. A common theme in fantasy is series. And like you said, Rina, usually the second or third or whatever usually are not as good as the first, if you like the first, obviously. However, I have a series that for me, it was good from start to finish. I could not put it down. I read the first one. I had to buy the second one, and I read the second one, and I had to buy the third one. And I cried at the end because I stopped being in that world, which is the Prison Healer series. That series is just amazing. And obviously it has found family, as I mentioned. It's a common theme for me. It's about Kiva. She has spent her whole life in a prison as a healer.
Prison healer?
Yeah. Helping her dad. However, you do not know her dad because he already passed away. So she's now the main healer of the prison. And that's all I'm going to say because this book is... That's all you need to know.
So she heals the prisoners.
Just go with it.
How many books are in the series?
3.
Okay.
That's okay.
My favorite was the last one. But
did you cry?
I did. It was a whole journey. I just remember I was reading it in my desk. Like I could not put it down. And I finished the first one and I went straight online to buy the second one. Yeah, I could not stop.
Rina, can you tell us more about your favorite books?
Do you have a series that you liked? Besides that one, yeah.
that I liked to the point of 5 stars. The answer, no. There was series that are like really good, but they're not 5-star reads, or some of the books are like 3.5 stars, others are like 4.5, so it really depends. I don't have a series that I would rate it like 5 stars.
What is your latest 5-star read?
I would say The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. I read it in Portuguese, and I don't know if this also changed my experience, but I read the translation, and I liked the writing so much. And also the story is really interesting. She's like such a quirky main character. Her name is Florence, and she goes back home because, if I'm not mistaken, her father passes away. Her family owns a funeral business, so they're basically preparing the funeral for their own father. And she sees ghosts. She's expecting to... Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Hi, Dad.
And she was expecting to see the dad all the time, and she didn't. Who did she see? Her nemesis at work. Yes.
As a ghost?
As a ghost.
Did he die?
And he is the male interest.
That sounds so fun.
Yes, it's really fun. It's so good. I love the story. It gave me vibes from that movie, with Reese Witherspoon.
She's the ghost.
She is the ghost.
She's the ghost. She's in the hospital. She's in a coma.
Uh-huh.
And
yeah. So it gives me major vibes of that movie that I also love.
Yeah, it's such a good movie. I'm going to add it to the TBR, like right now.
What about you, Trisha? Did you rate any book 5 stars this year?
Yes, but I would say a book that marked me. Okay, I have this 5 stars because it was really fun. And I have 5 stars because, wow, that was really good. And that was really good 5 stars was The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. It's a coming-of-age YA about a teenager boy that has autism. And he's trying to figure out why his neighbor's dog died. And he ends up finding things out about his parents that he shouldn't. It's a whole kind of a murder mystery novel because he's trying to find out why the dog died.
But that's not your vibe at all.
I know. Oh, I could have said this before because it's usually not my genre because of the mystery part, but I see it way more as a coming of age. YA. Coming of age is about identity and figuring out who you are, what you do in the world. I love that. It's a lot about understanding how our character sees the world. It was extremely interesting, and my review of this book was I would not change anything about this book. It was really well written. It was really cool.
It does sound interesting.
It was a small book, a short book. Easy to read. It was fast. I think I read it in 2 days.
Did someone recommend it to you, or did you?
Yes, a teacher in a school that I work in.
Oh, okay.
Is an English teacher, and he recommended me this book. He said he was reading it with his class, and it sounded really interesting, so I decided to read it and then, nerd a little bit about it with him.
It's what I'm saying. Schools are onto something. They are recommending the good stuff.
When you're forced to read it, you don't enjoy it as much, and you might not have the maturity to actually like these books yet.
And
a lot
understand.
of the themes, and understand. A lot of the themes in the books aren't that easy to understand for a teenager,
That's definitely true.
Anna, do you have another 5-star read that you want to tell us about?
I did rate a book 5 stars this year, which was Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I loved the book. It was gifted to me by my partner. Doesn't count as a recommendation because he did not read it, but I read it because of him. So maybe it also makes it a little bit more special.
Yes.
But it was super interesting. It's fantasy. Oh, I like it. It does have a subplot of romance. We always enjoy a bit of romance. And the world was amazing. It's a brown world, so there's no green. No one knows what green is. The colors of nature, people don't know flower colors. They don't know it's all brown. And have you seen Dune?
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are the vibes, but like tall buildings, kind of dystopian vibes, I'd say. And it's about a group of allomancers.
What is an allomancer?
What is an allomancer? Because the non-fantasy girlies are confused.
They have the ability to use and burn metals, and with that they have powers. In this case, they have a liquid. They drink the liquid, and within the liquid there's several types of metals. Each metal you can burn, and it will give you an ability.
So they have to keep ingesting ingesting this metal to have
Exactly.
powers? Oh,
Exactly.
okay.
But yeah, you follow two characters, a girl and a man. They're both allomancers, and they belong to a group that wants to overthrow the empire.
Yeah.
As they always do.
And of course, there are teams of royalty. There's the rich people, and then there's the poor people, the homeless people, the ones that don't have anything. And they do not want allomancers, so they unalive them. It's a really great book.
Is it fast-paced?
Mixed, actually. I would not say it's fast-paced. This is probably just a feeling. It's not a fast-paced book, but it's fast-paced writing.
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense? I don't even know how to explain it, but I read the book like really fast. I was always hooked, but it wasn't fast-paced as in the plot is always changing. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think I understand.
It hooked me. Let's just say it like that.
That's fair.
I do not recommend it to Rena. And now I'm afraid to recommend it to Trisha
Oh, come on.
because of Red Rising. But this is a really good book, in my opinion.
I will try it. I heard great things about it. And if my book bestie said it's good,
It is really good.
now I have your voice cut in your head. It might not be.
I'm sorry, I'm ever the negative. And going back to 5-star reads, I think I would recommend you In 5 Years by Rebecca Surley. I don't know, I still think about it to this day, and I read it like 3 or 4 years ago. It's a very interesting story. One day, the main character dreams that she's with a guy, and it was such an intense dream that she thinks about this person like constantly. And she has a best friend. And one day, this girlfriend introduces her to her new boyfriend, which is the guy.
That's what I thought.
Oh, no.
That's what I thought.
And I'm like,
Drama.
yeah, but it's not what you think. When you discover why, it's like... Anyway, I was like, oh, it's gonna be drama. Like, she's gonna be like, oh, I want him for myself and I don't know what. But no, it was mostly her just saying, no, my friendship is more important for me. It's more about friendship than romance. And it's a bit sad as well.
No, thank you.
Yeah, it was a very good book. In the same note, also, The Song of Achilles is also very good. Similar vibes, also sad, a bit tragic, but it was a very interesting retelling and very well written.
I started it and then I was not in that vibe. But I liked the writing. I remember liking how it was written.
I think until 10% I'm like, this is not really something I like. But then I pushed myself a bit and in the end it surprised me a lot.
I think I will like it. I was not in the mood to push myself. I will get back to it someday.
Do you have any books that you would like to mention?
I cannot not mention 1984.
Of course.
An Animal Farm by George Orwell. It needs no introductions. I also want to mention The Perks of Being a Wildflower because that book destroyed me. It was so good. Do you know it?
No, I don't think
There's
I
a
do.
movie as well. It's again a young adult coming of age, and it's about this teenager boy writing letters to someone that we don't know who that person is about his daily life, and we get to know him and about again identity, character driven, and we get to know a lot of traumatic stuff, difficult stuff
In his life?
Yes, it starts off as chill, just talking about his life and day to day, and then suddenly it's like, oh, I cried at the end of this book. It was so good. I think this would be the book that I would recommend to anyone.
I think I've seen the movie, unfortunately, before reading the book.
I watched the movie before reading the book as well, and I think the book is much better.
Is it the type of thing like John Green?
John Green is more cheesy.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I also like John Green. I really like The Fault in Our Stars and Looking for Alaska. Both really good books. I don't think I rated them 5 stars, but really good. But The Perks of Being a Wildflower is better.
Noted.
But yeah, you also have to keep in mind that it's written in the form of letters.
But like all of it?
Or like a diary, sort of. But no, those are letters. Yeah. The whole thing is his letters to someone that we don't know who it is.
Never? Or do you find
Do you
out
want
at
to
the
get
end?
spoiled?
No. I'm just asking if you do know eventually.
I think it takes something out of the book if I tell you
Okay.
this.
Okay. Then never mind.
Anna, do you have other recommendations for us?
In general, books that I really enjoyed. I want to mention The 7 Years Slip by Ashley Poston as well. I really enjoyed that book and the fact that it dealt with grief.
Why was it a 5-star read for you?
It was not a 5-star.
Ah, okay.
Just because I ended up with a few questions, but it was an amazing concept in my opinion. It was a surprise because I was not expecting what it actually was.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I read that it was about a 7-year difference between
Past and present.
not an age
Mhm.
gap. I actually thought it was she's only in the present, he's only in the future or in the past, you know? Like
you didn't think
stuck
they met.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. I didn't know how it worked, so I was surprised. And then I want to recommend The Answer Is No by Frederick Backman. It is a short story and it is amazing. We read, for book club actually, we read My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry. And I enjoyed the writing, so I was like, I want to try something different from him. And I saw that he has this short story. I was like, perfect, I'm going to try it. And I absolutely loved it.
More than the book?
More than the book. It follows Lucas. This guy is a lonely guy. He doesn't like people at all. He hates people. And then he is forced to deal with people when there is this frying pan outside in the building, and the building management has to know why the frying pan is there. What? Yeah, it's like it's a small problem that completely escalates, and it leads to this whole situation of him having to deal with people, which in my opinion is amazing, because then you have these characters that just don't shut up and he just wants them to shut up and go away. So I absolutely love this short story. And after reading this, I went to the bookstore to buy Anxious People by him, but I haven't read it yet.
I want to read that one as well.
I love his writing. I love how he compares things. And this book, The Answer Is No, has one of my favorite quotes ever. It's ridiculous, but I love it so much. I can't quote it right now exactly, but it's something like, I put my peanuts next to my peanut butter jar so they know what I'm capable of.
I remember when you shared this. Yes.
Yes.
I just love this. Other than that, I really recommend Passion Project by London Sperry. We had the opportunity to interview her, which was amazing because I really enjoyed her book.
It was so good. I can't believe it was a debut.
Right? It's amazing. So yeah, if you want to know about that book, just go watch the interview we have with her.
Go watch the interview.
No, wait until the end of this one and then go.
So you already know what makes the book besties like
and recommend
a book and think it's 5 stars.
Yeah. So what's your reason? Let us know why a book is a 5-star for you.
What are your 5 stars?
Yeah.
Are any of your 5 stars the same as ours?
We want to know.
And if your book bestie has the same taste as you, and she says it's a 5-star read, it probably is. Mic drop.
The truest words have been spoken.
Amen. Thank you so much for listening.
Bye.
Bye.